There wasn't much happening at the time because no one really worried about it. Everybody was for it at that stage, and it wasn't until when I actually got called up that's when everything started to happen, and people were taking it out on the troops, not on the government. So most of our fathers had been, or uncles or grandfathers had been in the wars in the previous times, and my dad was in the Air Force during the Second World War, and I just decided that, if I've got to go, I've got to go. So, but at that stage, Nashos weren't going overseas. They were just filling up most of the jobs at home that, later on. And then just after I got called up, they changed the rules that Nashos could go. Mum's extremely worried. Dad, he was, a bit stoic and sort of, good on your son and all that. But Mum was, because, I was the only child, so they were awfully worried, and I wasn't doing the right thing when I was over there by sending voicemails home to my mother with machine gun firing in the background, and so I didn't help my mum's attitude on what it was like over there. So it was hot, steamy, stinky, and it was a hell of a shock. So we went to the first Australian reinforcement wing that was there to get 2 weeks of acclimatization, get the salt running through the body so we didn't go passing out from lack of water or something like that. So we got acclimatized to what was happening. I was a rifleman in 1 battalion in Delta Company, and 10 platoon Delta Company it was, and we were at the front end a few times, so we spent our time out in the bush at Christmas time. First Christmas in the bush, so it was fun. It was scary. It was supposed to be a peace. There was the Christmas peace period that we had, so but we're still out there. Goodwood, and that was a pretty scary part. There's quite a few wounded then, and don't really like talking about it too much, so especially those parts. It was a search and destroy. We were looking for caches, and we were looking for bunker systems, and if you found friendly South Vietnamese, you were to assist them, and that's hearts and minds we were into, and also search and destroy, so especially the caches. And some of the caches we come across had Australian food in it. Yeah, the university students used to gather all the money that they could and send it to North Vietnam. So, and in these caches, we used to find golden circle pineapple and a lot of the golden circle products. So, it was good to know that they were supporting someone, but it wasn't us. Lucky they weren't there at the time. A lot of us got quite angry at what we saw. We were sprayed by planes twice over Nui Dat. The first time we were back in camp from 2 operations that we were between operations, and this Hercules was buzzing backwards and forwards across Nui Dat, and I asked the boss, I said, what's going on? He said, I think they're mozzie spraying. Anyway, that afternoon, everybody sort of started getting headaches and blurry eyes and nauseous and rashes, itching everywhere, and then 3 days later, everything started to die. All the jungle and the green started to turn brown, and then the brown fell to the ground. So it didn't take long. It took about 7 days for it to happen, to go from green. And even rubber trees, it's quite surprised me that usually you could do anything to a rubber tree and wouldn't kill it. But the rubber trees certainly fell apart from Agent Orange being sprayed on them. So, and other times we were running short of water, and we were moving through this swampy ground, but the water was flowing. But because there was so much weed coming up through the top of the water, it was holding these pockets of rainbow-coloured chemical, and you could smell it. And so we would put our hand over our water bottles, push it under the water as far as we could reach down, fill it up, and then put our pills that we had to put into the water, and all this scum used to come off the top of it. And you'd shake it off and then put your neutralising pill in there to neutralise whatever it was you put in before, so it didn't kill you. And then we'd drink it. So. And then times we've walked through and it was still, the jungle was still dripping of this white oily film, and you could smell it. And I slept in a cleared patch one night. I thought, oh, this is a good spot. And it was virtually just on coming on dark when we pulled into the harbour position. And the area that I picked didn't have much growing, and it was underneath a big tree. And in the morning we found a 44-gallon drum that was just up the hill, and it had been one of those ones that they kick out the back of the aeroplane, the hill, and they're supposed to explode above the ground and scatter but this one didn't explode. It just hit the ground and cracked, and I was laying in the ground that was leaching the stuff into it. So now I have all these squamous cell carcinomas all over me that every month I have to get burnt off, and some of them I have to get cut out, and most of them get burnt off with the nitrous, the freezing. So yeah, every month. They reckon that if they had nowhere to hide, there wouldn't be an enemy. So they sprayed something like 25 million tonnes of Agent Orange all over Vietnam. It was just absolutely disgusting what this stuff did. And then the admirals were saying, oh yeah, you can drink this stuff, and yeah. The chromosome changes in soldiers that came back was incredible. My last boy was born, I think, just before my chromosomes had changed, because when I separated from my wife at that stage, and then I was living with another woman later on, she tried to get pregnant, and it was only, she had stillborn and ectopic pregnancy. So we did tests, and it was me, and he said that my sperm looked like something prehistoric. So I think from the time I had my two children to this other lady trying to have babies, everything had changed in my body, and that's why I never had any more kids. We all took the reason to go there, but stupid war it was. Then we came back to Australia and I had 40 days leave. And I thought, oh, this is great. And then after 20 days we got a telegram saying we had to report back to the movement station in South Brisbane railway station to go back to Sydney. And then as we were all going back to Sydney, we're thinking, oh no, they're going to send us over because we'd only spent 9 months there. They're going to send us there for the next 3 months, and that'll bring us up to discharge our 2 years. And we're all going, oh, I got a bad back, oh, my elbows, oh, my shoulders, oh, I got this rash. And we didn't want to, we didn't want to go. And then they started giving us injections again, and then they told us we were going to Malaya. So went to Malaya, did 6 months in Malaya, and then the battalion moved to Singapore, and we did 2 years. So it was a good posting, and then came back to Townsville. It's extremely hard. I found it hard. I tried to join 2 RSLs while I was still in the military, and both of them didn't accept me because they said it was a police action, and it was the RSLs that pushed for Nashos to go anyway. So I went into town to do a tribunal. They said, no, you can't join as a returned serviceman because you didn't return from a war, you returned from a police action. It was a bit like what they did to the career veterans as well. So they treated them the same way, pretty poor. And when I got out and tried to get a job, they'd say, oh, where you been for the last 8 years? And, oh, working for the government. Oh, well, what were you doing? Oh, I was in the military. Oh, you went to Vietnam, did you? Oh, well, don't call us, we'll call you. So I became a closet veteran from then on. I threw everything into the back of the cupboard and left it there and didn't even bother marching on Anzac days or anything like that. And also the way we were treated when we came home when the first night when we got back to Australia from Vietnam. So we could hear in customs all the yelling and carrying on outside the doors, and we thought, oh, they're going to give us a good welcome home. Anyway, when we got out there was women throwing stale vegetables and rotten tomatoes and stuff like that, and we're holding up these big placards, like killers, baby killers, rapists, murderers, and then the first night in Sydney, waiting for the plane to go back to Queensland the next morning, we got into about 6 fights in town because we were stuck in our uniforms and wandering around Sydney, and all the university students were out doing a prowl, I suppose, and wanting to have a punch up with us. So, but we were pretty fit, so they came off second best. So yeah, it was pretty wild. So the posties stopped delivering our mail. The union stopped sending stuff over that we needed, like all our essential equipment, like bullets and bombs and stuff like that we needed, and our food. And they stopped sending it over. They stopped loading the boats. The worst thing about it too is that these women in Sydney that we met as we got off the plane, they were like my mum's age, and they used to have it was called Save Our Sons. And instead of having a go at the government like they should be doing, because we went over to Vietnam to do a job that we were sent to do, and we did it to the best of our ability. and then we get treated like shit when we got home. So, and that went on for quite a few years after we got home. So, you know, at one stage there, we weren't allowed to wear our uniforms when going through Brisbane, or if we were going home from work, we had to get changed into civilian uniform, or civvies, and take our uniform off, and that was probably about 6 years after I'd been there, so we were still copping it. Yeah, it was in Darwin. I had all my gear there, and I packed it up into a crate and sent the money up to him to get. It was going to cost me $500 to put it on a truck to get it home. So I sent the money up there, said put it on the next available truck coming back to Brisbane. And when the truck got back here, there was no crate. He'd stolen it. So it went from Darwin to I don't know where. It just, you know, it did disappoint me. It was everything in it was my you know, discharge certificate, all my paperwork that I'd collected, my medals that I was quite proud of, and even though they sat in the back of the cupboard for so long, I was still proud of them. You know, I'd earned them. And in those days, we only got 2 issued to us, and I never expected all the rest of them that I have now, and it's yeah. I enjoyed my service. I thoroughly enjoyed being in the military. I felt at ease and at home with other veterans, and I still do nowadays with ex-serving veterans. I feel more comfortable with veterans and ex-serving members than I do with the normal civilian population. You know, like it's funny. The military has the most blackest sense of humour that you can ever get, and I think it's just because of service, but it's even more pronounced in veterans that have come back from a war zone, and normal civilians do not understand. And I think the Australian soldier looks at things more weird than any other people do, because I don't know what it is about Australian. They're bloody mad, I think, some of them. Today means remembrance, thinking of the brothers that we left there, and the heroes that we walk with there. None of us are heroes. We're still here. The heroes didn't make it back. So, and it's remembrance for those people that didn't special day. Yeah, it took long and hard, fought for the things that Vietnam veterans have got. They established the Vietnam Veterans Counselling Service. We got the Vietnam War Memorial only because we raised most of the money to pay for it. We had the recognition in Sydney, I didn't go to, and there was a recognition in Brisbane, I didn't go to. I haven't really come back to the fold until about 2009, I think it was 2008 was when I came back to the RSL, so it was a long time out. couldn't tell them what we really saw and what we really did over there. I could tell them about the good times that we had, the brotherhood, the mateship, the funny things that had happened, some of the strange things that happened, but I wouldn't tell them about the gore and what what I've been through and what still goes on in my mind. So at night times sometimes I have bad nights, and I wouldn't want anybody to go through that. So haven't slept well since I came back from Vietnam.